Hello, I'm meteorologist Bill Steffen, speaking to you from the three-season porch we have. I've evacuated the man cave for a little bit. We're doing a little bit of construction down there, and it's been such a nice day around here. I'd like to be out where I can see the outdoors, check on my birds and whatnot. It was a rather cool start to Sunday. We'll start with a look at some of the low temperatures across the area. Grand Rapids and Battle Creek at 37, Holland 36. Kalamazoo, a degree above the freezing mark at 33, and then the rest of the temperatures down there were below the freezing mark. What's interesting is South Haven and Benton Harbor are a little cooler than Holland and, of course, Grand Rapids and Battle Creek. One of the reasons for that is that when you get cold air coming in off Lake Michigan, the temperature starts out at 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, about 10 degrees cooler right at the lakeshore. So as we get clear and calm conditions overnight, the temperature falls a couple degrees more along the lakeshore there, a little bit below the freezing mark. But really not much has developed so far. We've got blossoms coming out, the magnolia trees, the forsythia. I got some beautiful tulips up, I really do. And the cool temperatures extended off to the north. You can see Cadillac was 23. That's 9 degrees below freezing. And something, Michelle, I think you'll like, 17 degrees this morning at Kipling in the UP. That was the coldest temperature in the entire United States. And something really interesting about that, there are two towns right next to each other in the UP. One is named Rudyard, and the other one is named Kipling. And
I was wondering why I wouldn't like that, but that's cool.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Rudyard Kipling. And it started when Rudyard Kipling himself, who was a famous British author, The Jungle Book and whatnot, when he was moving from New York to San Francisco, he actually decided to go through the UP on a train. And he asked about this. There's a little tiny town there where they stopped or whatever. He asked what the name of the town was, and he said the town didn't have a name. And so people started suggesting, that since Kipling was here, we named the place after him. So there are two towns up in the UP in, I believe, Chippewa County, southwest of Sault Ste. Marie. One is named Rudyard and one is named Kipling. Isn't that weird?
That is great.
Yeah. Well, let us continue on here. We've got more to talk about here. Let's talk about the water here a little bit and take a look at what's ahead here for us here. First of all, it's snow on the ground across the area. There's still some snow. We're almost out of April. Painesdale still has more than a foot of snow on the ground. And there are places there on the north slopes where it's in the woods where that snow is going to stick around into May. Just about 11 miles south of Munising, there's a spot there that still has 12 inches on the ground. Quincy Hill and Three Lakes also have snow on the ground. You can see on the left, that's a map that comes from weather observations plus satellite, and they can tell where the snow is. And there's still a lot of snow north of Sault Ste. Marie in Canada there. A lot of that lake effect, but you can see the snow that's left in the Keweenaw, west of Marquette, and also between Grand Marais and Munising up there along the Lake Superior shoreline. Well, now let's take a look at water temperatures a little bit here. This was kind of an interesting day. Lake Michigan water temperature actually warmed up a couple of degrees to 42.3, and one of the reasons that surface water warmed up is because there wasn't any wind to stir the water very much. The Mid-Lake buoy Sunday evening was showing waves at around 3 to 4 inches. That's all. Compare that to the picture you can see there from Saturday when waves were running about 8 feet and crashing over the piers and breakwaters. So what a difference a day can make there. And look at Reed's Lake, which is an inland lake in East Grand Rapids. The temperature of the water rose from 52.8 degrees at 7 o'clock in the morning, right around sunrise. At mid-afternoon, it peaked at 59.3. That was a rise of 6.5 degrees. But again, the winds were light, and the water that warmed up was just that little thin layer right at the top, maybe the first inch or two. If that air gets some wind and mixes up, it's going to go down again from 59 back down to probably 53 or 54. So interesting to watch the water temperatures here. All right, let's take a look then at our sponsors here for just a second. We will be right back to tell you about the odds of severe weather later on tonight and tomorrow.
And we're so grateful for our awesome Bill Steffen weather sponsors. Thank you for coming on board with us. Complete Care Concierge LLC is your West Michigan cleaning service for whatever cleaning you need, whether it is home cleaning, apartment, condominium, your office, your business. They do one-time cleans. They can clean for you on a repeat basis. Whatever your needs are, they've got you covered. They are the professionals, and they've got all the latest tools and products that they need to keep your space and the things in it in top shape. They are fast, efficient, and affordable, and they serve all of West Michigan. So wherever you are in West Michigan, they can serve you. 616-264-1397, 616-264-1397. That's Complete Care Concierge, LLC. And here's a word from our other sponsor.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Well, there could be a significant outbreak of severe weather today just off to our west. We expect severe thunderstorms to form during the mid to late afternoon out toward Minnesota and the eastern Dakotas out down toward Iowa, and then race up into Wisconsin and the UP. There is a level 4 severe weather outlook in that red color there. That's called a moderate outlook. And around that, an orange outlook area, which is in the level 3 stage. Level 2 is yellow, and that comes into West Michigan, mainly in areas north of Grand Haven. And then what's going to happen is the storms are going to form out there, and then they're going to diminish as they head toward Grand Rapids. This is very conditional. It may be a significant thunderstorm for us, especially along the lakeshore there. But if the storms were to fizzle in eastern Wisconsin and over Lake Michigan, we wouldn't get much of anything here. So it's interesting, and you can see what SPC says. Multiple corridors of severe thunderstorms are expected across the upper Midwest Monday into Monday night, with a regional severe weather outbreak possible. The most dangerous period is likely during the late afternoon and evening. Storms will still be off to our west, by the way, at that point, when strong tornado potential should be maximized. Scattered large to very large hail and damaging winds are likely as well. So we will be tracking these, and you want to stay up to date with the weather here, especially late afternoon and evening, and watch the storms off to our west, and we'll tell you more if those are encroaching upon our immediate area here. And then we expect storms to redevelop on Tuesday, and Tuesday's outlook shows the activity mainly off to the east of West Michigan. We're still in the marginal risk here. But you can see the enhanced outlook. They've added that now in orange, in the orange color there, level 3, from Ohio up into New York State. And the slight risk goes all the way down well into Texas. So 2 days of possibly some significant severe weather along a cold front coming on through. We will be tracking it. Here's the way it looks from the standpoint of the Grand Rapids National Weather Service. They put out this graphic, and they're very useful. You can go to the National Weather Service site and take a look. They're all fine meteorologists at the airport here, and do a great job of keeping us posted. And here's what they have here. They have the same outlook area as the Storm Prediction Center, but they've added what is some of the risks that we see right here, what's expected, and what you can do. And a couple of things that you can do if there's ever during the summer a hail situation. Park your car indoors if you possibly can. And I've had people that have gotten bicycle helmets to wear on their heads in the event we get a significant tornado outbreak here. That's unusual. A better bet for any significant tornado outbreaks is generally off to our west, at least the F3 and above, or the EF3 and above tornadoes. All right, let's go on here, and we'll take a look at the amount of rain that's expected. And what's interesting is look at that kind of area from Iowa into southern lower Michigan, where there's just not going to be quite as much rain. Heavy rain in that yellow and orange color falling from Texas up into Missouri, and then in northern Wisconsin, up across northern Minnesota, the Dakotas, back toward Yellowstone National Park, where much of that is going to come in the form of snow. So an interesting couple, 3 days expected here. You can see the rain that's falling. Even in California, there's a few really light showers. By the way, Los Angeles, when I checked with them Sunday afternoon, they were only in the low 60s. And Phoenix, I believe, was 76. And that's a cool day for them out there at this time of year. But heavier rain should be up toward the UP and off to our south down toward the Ohio River Valley. So in terms of snowfall, there is snow left out there. There's a couple of little areas of snow that are going to be falling across the Western Rockies, and that will continue to be the case here. Well, here we are. We're there. Here we go back. And you can see there's still a couple of snow showers falling in New England, but nothing here in the state of Michigan. Well, keep monitoring the webcams out there in Yellowstone to see what we see. Headlines, dry temperatures, dry most of Monday and most of Tuesday in the daytime. And keep in mind that's most of Monday and most of Tuesday. We have the best chance for picking up a shower, thunder shower will be Monday evening through Tuesday morning. But then I think by evening we'll be drying out. Showers and storms for Monday night, chance of a storm Tuesday afternoon. The best bet for that would be down toward Coldwater, Jackson, or Detroit. Mostly sunny skies expected here during the day on Wednesday. So here's the way it looks for today. Nice day, 75 degrees, some sunshine expected here. It should be, there'll be some clouds. It won't be totally sunny here, but all in all, a pretty nice day. Humidity levels low, so we have a higher fire danger today. South to southeast winds, and not terribly, there'll be 5 to 10 miles an hour in the morning, but they could kick up to 10 to 15 or even 10 to 20 miles an hour by late in the day. And now we take a look at high temperatures across the area for today. I've got 75 out for Grand Rapids, 78 for South Bend. Even Ludington at the airport, 70, though it will be a touch cooler than that near Lake Michigan, but with a general south to southeast wind, many of the lakeshore areas would be a little bit milder than we were today. And look it up in the UP, Marquette, 61 degrees. Snow will be melting, what's left of it up there in the UP. For Tuesday, we cool off a little bit. Cold front comes on through Tuesday, and you can see the warmer air yet off to our west. Look at Detroit, 85 degrees. Can it be that warm there? They won't have the cold front until evening. But cooler air will be starting to come into our area, and it will be cooler near the lake. I expect it will still be mild, of course, in Grand Rapids, as you can see, but right at the immediate lakeshore, temperatures will probably fall into the 50s by late in the day. And the outlook here for the day on Tuesday or on Wednesday, temperatures here should be in the low 60s, a little bit cooler near Lake Michigan, but with sunshine should be a very nice day. And we have the long range outlook in now for the 5-day period here. We've got 75 for today, 72 Tuesday, but Tuesday there could be quite a gradient. It could be 80 in Ann Arbor and 55 in the afternoon in Ludington. I've got the icon for the rain and the thunder here Monday night into very early Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon, it should become partly cloudy once again. Wednesday, a nice day, but showers and maybe a thunder shower here for Thursday. And it does cool off toward the end of the week. We'll be back in the upper 50s to low 60s, but that's not bad. Now the long range outlook 8 to 14 days out. This just came in this evening. We're still above average here for temperatures. And let's take a look at the rainfall forecast here. I think we'll be seeing below average rainfall totals. And what's interesting is that should make for a very nice tulip festival here. I've been touting that for a long time. We'll have a lot of days with sunshine and mild temperatures here. The tulips in my house are coming out now, but they're the early ones. They plant later varieties in Holland. So if you're thinking of coming down there, pick a day. It should be a great tulip festival this year.
I'm going to have to fly back up there soon and go through the photos because I know we've got pictures of us as little kids at Tulip Festival in the costumes and stuff.
Do you remember Barbara Bush talking to you? You probably didn't know who she was at the time.
I remember Mom talking about it.
Yeah, Mom made costumes for you, Dutch costumes for you. And Barbara Bush was the grand marshal of the parade and drove through the parade. And she looked at you girls and said, "You girls look wonderful." And you were like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "That's Barbara Bush. Wow. Pretty cool."
All
well,
right. Look what we found.
I remember that well. When I was a kid, they used to put this graphic up on TV at night and then sign off the air. And if you were to turn on your TV between was it midnight and maybe 7 a.m., this is the graphic that you would see. And this is an interesting graphic. I don't know what you wrote down here. You want to go through this for us here? You probably know more than I do.
Sure. Well, this is as best as I can understand it. And I know that some telecommunications engineers watch this show. So I'm so sorry about everything I'm about to get wrong. It was created by an electronics company, RCA, and everything in there is part of something that they can look at it. And if it's wrong, then that tells them immediately that something's wrong with the image and what they need to do to fix it. So framing, perspective, contrast, brightness, all these things. And someone who's trained as a television engineer can look at it and go, oh, this is wrong. That's wrong. Let's fix it. And that's the way that they kept the broadcasts clear and their programming looking good.
Yeah, when I first came, we would run that graphic, and some of the graphics had the Indian chief there. But we would sign off the air around midnight. We would run something like Hogan's Heroes from 11:30 to noon, or 11:30 to midnight after the news was over, and then we would go to this graphic here, which would sit here all night long, and then we would sign on at 6:58. We would do Jack LaLanne doing push-ups and whatnot, exercise class, and for about a minute, that's all. And then we did the Blue Angels, and then we did the Lone Ranger, and then Bozo. And some people, I'm sure, will remember that from the early days.
So when I was a little kid, about 8 years old, so this would have been 1990-ish, if I was very well behaved all week, they would let me go with Bill to work on Friday nights. Mm-hmm. So when he would go back in to do the late shift from 9 p.m. until about 1 a.m., and I would sit there and hang out, and this was at WZZM. And all the employees that would walk past would say hi and ask me about my life, and they were so much fun. And then I'd watch the show, and then afterwards I would watch cartoons. So right outside Bill's office, there was a couch, and then there was a TV that was always playing Channel 13. And I would just sit there because cartoons would come on at midnight. And I would watch them for an hour or two and sometimes fall asleep, sometimes not. And then Dad would get done from work at about 1 a.m, and then we would go to Meijer.
Yeah, and it was interesting how programming works. We were carrying Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy for a while, and those programs got so expensive that we replaced them with Cops, which cost a quarter of what Jeopardy did, but and we only had half the audience, but we made twice as much money.
Right.
So it's interesting how the business works. And some shows wore well and some didn't. I mean, you could play episodes of Hogan's Heroes, or I think MASH was another one or Barney Miller. Barney Miller was another good example. People would watch the reruns 2 and 3 and 4 times. And then there are some shows that didn't wear well at all. I remember Laverne and Shirley got good ratings when it was out, but in syndication didn't do much of anything.
So then we would go to Meijer, and like there'd be no one there, let alone other 8-year-olds. And I would watch Bill and his extreme couponing because no one couponed better than the Bill.
I do.
And if Kids Week was going on, the employees would like put Kids Week on for me at 2 a.m. They'd be like letting me chase the fish down and stuff and play the ring toss. And I'd leave at 2 a.m. with this bag of my little fish. Anyways,
they were great.
They were great.
Meijer's was, is Meijer still open 24/7?
I don't know.
They were open
COVID
24
ruined
hours.
a lot of
I got to know the stockers there that worked very fast, very, very efficient. I've always liked Meijer's. I tell people 1 year the best sweet corn I ever got that entire summer came from Meijer's. And the golf tournament they run out there, or the LPGA event out at Blythefield Country Club is really well done. So hats off to Meijer's for that.
Mm-hmm. So there we go with the Indian test pattern, and it
color
was
bars
released by. So this is largely what they used for analog testing. And again, it tells the engineers if the signal needs to be adjusted within the specifications. And this particular one was used in America and some other countries, and it was designed to meet a certain set of standards.
Yeah, it's interesting because whenever color bars came up, we knew that there was some kind of mistake if it actually got on the air.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
There were times when we would test the signal at night, like at 2 or 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays,
If you're a television engineer watching this, I'm so sorry to the extent to which I've oversimplified this. If you want to come on and tell us all about it for real, we would love to have you. And thank you for everything you do.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They're on 24-hour call if something goes wrong, and they are very smart people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, kitty.
And who are they?
Those are my two of my three cats. The third one is probably just off to the right because they
I
hang
see the
together.
third one. The third one's got the little red collar.
Oh, okay. All right. I got one. I got two. Oh, yeah. It's over on the left. I didn't see. Okay. Starting on the left side, that is Joy, and Joy is my buddy. She likes getting petted and rubbed, and then we have Nonami, and Nonami was a cat that came to us with no name, and we thought Nonami was the name. It just listed no name, so he became Nonami. And then the one on the right is Ellie Lou, and Ellie Lou is named for our parents, Eleanor and Louise. My mother's name was Louise. And the cats do hang together. They look outside and watch the birds for a while, but they do some napping and are generally very well-behaved cats.
So we'll get them to wander on camera eventually.
I have one of them sleeping on the sofa right here, and one of them just came in the three-season porch. Hey, Ellie Lou, you want to come up and say hi? No, guess not.
Okay, we'll work on that. Okay, I took this photo driving home tonight. So what kind of clouds am I looking at?
You know what doesn't that look like Yoda? That cloud on the right?
Bit. Yeah.
Just a little bit?
Little bit.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Well, it's not Michigan. You are in Alabama, and those are convective clouds, cumulus and a towering cumulus. We watched the LPGA golf event on TV for a while. I like watching golf events sometimes, just looking at the weather and having it on in the background there. But the event there, you could see thunderstorms in the distance when the cameras panned to the east, northeast, through north. And you could see these beautiful towering thunderheads. So cumulonimbus clouds, but those are just regular old cumulus. It looks like there's some higher clouds there too, probably some thunderstorm debris. You probably had a pretty nice day today.
We did.
Yeah. You've had a lot of days, on the warm side. We haven't quite gotten that warm too often here.
So yesterday we were talking about the derecho of 91. And we fact checked you because we had your version of events about you parking outside in the apple orchard. So I got a comment from daughter number 2 who was there. So here's what she says. I listened to Dad's vlog. I remember him being geeked out and excited, a little nervous the Suburban would flip and telling us where to sit in it. I can't remember if Mom was with us for some reason. I think she stayed in the house. No kidding.
Yeah, she was not in the Suburban, and we pulled in just as the strong wind hit. I pulled into the orchard, which is on the west side of the road, and we just stayed there and waited for the storm to pass.
So this is your parenting this evening, taking your kid to Meyer at 2 a.m. when she was 8 years old, your 11-year-old in a Suburban during the derecho.
Right.
We did good in the 80s.
We all survived. Somehow we survived. Yeah, we went to the beach that day. Temperature was 90 degrees. Oh, you got a map of it. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. This is really cool. What they have done is they have put a map together showing you where the Great Lakes derecho of 1991 occurred. There was a first one that went across northern Iowa. The numbers that you see in red are measured wind gusts. And you can see 2 of them in Grand Rapids, 84, I think that was at Wood, and 85 was at Peter Chan's house, maybe. And there was is that a 68 maybe that was down? The strongest winds were in Kent and Ottawa County. But look at northwest Iowa. There was, hello. You want to come in and say hi, Kat? Cats, can you, I don't know if you can hear me. There must be a critter outside. She's really up against the window, talking to the critter there. There's a 103 mile an hour gust there in northwest Iowa, and you can see the time there. The strong winds out in Iowa occurred during the early to mid morning. So these Dead 8 shows can go, it doesn't really matter the time of day, they'll just go trucking right along. The Dead 8 show widened as it came through lower Michigan, and you can see it went all the way into Pennsylvania and New York before it fell apart. And Dave Whitford was on the air that night. This was a weekend, and he had tracked that moving at 65 miles an hour through Ottawa County. So that was pretty amazing.
So I had been in Chicago. I want to say that I think Mom might have been with me, and that's why she wasn't with you guys. But I remember seeing the storm clouds go over, but we didn't have any precipitation where we were. I think we were in Naperville at the time.
Yep.
So yeah, I missed the whole thing.
North of Chicago.
But like I remember, and of course, I remember because there was this huge storm after it. But I remember seeing the dark clouds go over to the north.
Mm-hmm. It says in the writing down on the bottom here from this graphic, I think originated from the Storm Prediction Center, if I'm not mistaken. But it's been around for a while. 85-mile-an-hour gust was at Belding. Some of the worst damage in southwest Michigan occurred in Ionia and Kent counties. 2 homes were destroyed, and over 250 others were damaged. And we had a number of homes in our block that lost shingles. I don't think we had any windows blown out, but we had trees down all up and down the block.
We'll have to do a full thing on it the day of.
Yeah. So it's 125 million worth of damage.
Mm-hmm.
That was, let's see, that would be about 3 times that today. So $750 million or something like that.
So someone commented that they're watching our show from Des Moines, Iowa. So, hey, welcome to the show. So here's the weather where you are for Monday. You can expect a high of 81 and a low of 46 with a chance of showers and later thunder showers, and it will be windy.
Yes, and they'll have to watch out for heavy thunderstorms or even isolated severe thunderstorms there. Best chance would be north and east of Des Moines, and that's quite a temperature spread. Start out in the mid-40s in the morning and wind up in the 80s in the afternoon.
So when I was applying to law schools, he would send me emails comparing the weather of all the different places that I was applying. Yeah. As there was no other criteria on his list. It was all just a comparison of weather. And one of the places he said to consider was Iowa because it's got West Michigan weather. It's got all the seasons, but in the winter, you'll get a couple days of sunshine and it will just lift your spirits. It might get up to 40 degrees. Anyways, he said Iowa's a nice place. I haven't spent a lot of time there. But yeah, good things about Iowa.
I got a call asking me to apply for a job at a TV station in Des Moines.
Was that Channel 8 sending out your tape again?
No, that was, let me see. Somebody was just looking on their own at the time and happened to see a tape of me. And it was interesting. The station was affiliated with PBS and not a regular ABC, NBC, or CBS at the time. So that was interesting. But good station out there.
Okay, and someone else is watching us from Leslie, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know where that was, so I looked it up and I found a couple of fun stories.
Okay.
So it's a small town in Ingham County, originally named Meekerville because that was one of the early settlers. So I went to read the Wikipedia page about this small town, and there's this whole thing on their Wikipedia page about the robotics season at the high school in 2020. So in 2020, a high school calculus teacher was approached by a first robotics coach at a Quiz Bowl event to start a team. That year, 6 students built a somewhat functional robot during AP calculus, according to a team member at the time. So first of all, I raised a kid who was calculus and robotics and Quiz Bowl, and the overlap, of course, that would be the same group of people doing all those things. And the fact that it's on the town's Wikipedia page that the robotics team built a somewhat functional robot during their first season is just fantastic.
Yeah, so interesting.
I hope you still have a robotics team going and that it's amazing. It sounds like a lot of fun.
I think at times I'm somewhat functional. That's about it.
And that's exactly how they would write that too.
We salute Leslie, Michigan.
Yes. And another fun thing, they think the model of cream of wheat for all those years was from Leslie and that he's buried there.
Oh, you're kidding.
So he was an immigrant from Barbados and he was working as a chef in Chicago. And someone saw him who was involved in marketing for cream of wheat and said, I'll give you 50 cents if you show up here tomorrow and let me take your picture. So he did, and then later saw himself as the model on Cream of Wheat. He was
Wow.
like, that's me. That's what I was taking my picture for.
What was 50 cents worth in 1867? What would that be worth today?
Probably a whole bunch.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably a lot of money.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's
we
how
had
that
cream of
works.
wheat growing up, and you can get cream of rice now, and
Mhm.
it's not only a breakfast cereal, but you can mix that into other cooking creations.
Yeah. So Leslie, Michigan, full of fantastic stories.
Neat.
So, and here's a spring photo, thanks to John Doherty.
There were many flowers up at Gross Park, and like I said, between those and the ones in my yard, really looking good out there right now. By the way, I had a bumblebee that was kind of chasing me when I was walking through the woods there. I don't know what the attraction was there, but bumblebees are the noisiest, but one of the least aggressive of all the bees, wasps, and hornets.
We
So
have
I
a lot of
usually
them
don't get
down here.
excited when there's a bumblebee around because they're usually pretty docile.
And a beautiful one from John Scully.
Right, and that's along the lake shore, obviously. Beautiful sunset here tonight, off to the west. Each and every night now, the sun is setting just a little bit farther to the north, and the days continue to get longer. Yeah, the
And
birds.
there's a link to our merch store in the comments, so check out our merch store, and we've got several designs, and this is one of them, so I hope you'll think that's fun.
Yeah, hope we can sell a few of those.
And if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button because that tells the YouTubes that people like the show and helps us grow.
All right. If you have an evening golf league or softball league, pay attention to the weather, as we may have some thunderstorms approaching from the west by about that time, and a pretty significant severe weather outbreak, a possibility just off to our west. So we'll be tracking the weather for you at billsteffen.com. Hope you have yourself an awesome day, and thanks for watching to the very end.